What's up, guys? This is the Blue Bridge Podcast. My name is Deck, and I'm with my guy DG. We're going to be covering the Pittsburgh Steelers for the most part. There may be separate segments in the future covering Whippeal football, but overall, this episode alone, which is our first episode, we're going to be briefing up on the Steelers' recent acquisitions, team moves, basically just the entirety of the preseason. We're probably going to sprinkle in some collegiate coverage in terms of football, as well as I'm not the biggest baseball or hockey guy, but if the Pirates or the Penguins have a reasonable record this year and a reason to talk, then I'm definitely going to talk about them. But our initial topic is going to be, of course, the Aaron Rodgers acquisition. You want to go first? How you feel about that?
Yes, sir. So, how I'm feeling about the Aaron Rodgers acquisition. I know a lot of people saying he's older, he's losing mobility and things of that nature. But I'm just excited to have a vet, someone that understands defenses and someone that brings a high level of intelligence to an offense. So, me personally, I think the Aaron Rodgers acquisition is going to be something that's great for us, and people will see down the line when the season starts how much having a vet and someone that can read defenses, check downs, and take what the defense gives them without forcing anything. Just having that veteran presence, I think, will show down the line in the season, especially in those close games down the stretch.
I agree to an extent. I'm not disagreeing at all. What I will say is I kind of had that vision last year with Russell Wilson, but these are two different entities, of course. Like, I think this will be our best quarterback since Ben prior to his 3 year. In my opinion, he had a bad, three. You think so? Like, his last 3 years were pretty bad?
I mean, obviously, he fell off a little
bit. A lot of people have different opinions. They said, Sabotage 7. He had a horrible O-line, horrible coordinator, which I won't disagree with that, but I do think that he was just lackluster his last few years.
And I also think the elbow injury he had towards the end of his career.
That ruined it.
You know what I mean? Just his deep ball and everything.
Yeah, not for sure.
Was on the decline.
That affected him heavily. When I'm gonna cover the Aaron Rodgers topic in my mind, I always say his name could be George Smith. This is, and it's obviously Aaron Rodgers. I handle it that way. But when I say that, I mean he's literally a placeholder this year. He's on a 1-year deal for a reason, and it's $13 million. So people that are really upset with this acquisition, I don't understand, because you're getting a guy for really cheap that just may be the most talented quarterback the league's ever seen. And I mean, Brady showed it himself with the Bucs. Talent translates in old age, regardless. Yeah. I think the Jets was somewhat of a fluke. I did want Justin Fields over Aaron Rodgers, but I do think that we could be better off with Aaron Rodgers than Justin Fields. It just depends on what happens when we see that initial 5 games probably or so, and I could really get a feel. But
yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't understand people acting like Aaron Rodgers forgot how to play football, but I understand frustrations of signing someone who's a little bit older. But in the same breath, you got to look at his stats last year, throwing for almost 4,000 yards, 20-something TDs to 8 interceptions. I mean, he's still playing good football. I think bringing him on a culture like we have in Pittsburgh, I think that type of stuff it'll flourish whenever we look back at it, and we'll be like, you know what, that was a good pickup for a 1 year. I mean, we're almost kind of trying to rebuild, while still trying to contend, if that makes sense. So that's what I see with us getting a guy like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll elaborate on 2 things. I think my initial thought this year with acquiring Aaron Rodgers is the veteran leadership in all positions, and just the offense as a whole. We haven't really had that. Russell tried, but it failed. I think that he could be a big deal for Will Howard, and I do want to see Will Howard possibly start in the future. Yeah. That's going to be less of a possibility, in my opinion, than a lot of people think. It's going to be hard for him to gain that traction going into next year with most likely a high pick, not because our record, but because of all the comp picks we have to trade up, I think we will go for a quarterback next year. But I'd love to see a guy as talented as Will Howard start, and I think his best chance is with the Aaron Rodgers type guy in the room. Um, and the other thing with Aaron Rodgers, I think a lot of the skeptics are worried about his personality, and he's quickly proven that he could just be a guy on the team. And I've heard other Pittsburgh media talk about how on the Jets he was the owner and he pretty much was given that burden. A lot of people think it was his Hollywood attributes and his cocky personality that was like, oh, I run everything, this is my team. But really, he was given the keys, he was given the reins. Like they said, hey, who do you want here? What offensive coordinator you want? And at the Steelers, we're an established organization. Regardless of the mediocrity we've withstanded for over a decade now, and we haven't been able to win a playoff game, we still are the Pittsburgh Steelers. We still don't let people just get away with what they want. I mean, we had, in my opinion, one of the most talented young receivers in the league, and he's gone now due to off-the-field antics. So we obviously are not going to condone superstar, like, I mean, of course we want a superstar, but superstar actions and kind of diva is more or less what I mean. So I think people need to stop worrying in Pittsburgh much about off-the-field stuff and realize that you have a guy that can throw the football better than any guy you've had since Ben Roethlisberger.
And I agree, and not to disagree, but I do think, like, in general, we will have to wait to be able to see, like, when we face adversity throughout the season, then we'll kind of see those characteristic traits, on how he'll act towards, younger players and stuff like that. Because in the past, obviously, people.
My bad, y'all. I'm opening the Sam Adams. My bad.
But I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers is definitely, like, what he brings to the table, talent wise. I don't think is a question. At least in my opinion. Of course, O-line has to keep him healthy and things of that nature. But I'm very comfortable with a guy like Aaron Rodgers behind center. Of course, if things go wrong, the difference between him and a guy like Russ, I mean, Russ is always, very positive, very, God-sending, and always wanting to put that into his message, even when we lose. Aaron, he's more realistic. He might tell you how he really feels. He might, express all those things. So I understand where people could imagine something going wrong, but I think you gotta like the gamble and taking a guy like that for the price we got him at. And
agreed. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think at the end of the day, we'll look back at it and we'll be like, man, we had Aaron Rodgers behind center for us. And I think...
Yeah. I mean, it's legendary, just the aesthetic itself, seeing Aaron Rodgers in the Pittsburgh gear. And like you said, a one-year gamble, like, is worth it. I know we've had a lot of bridge quarterbacks, which is what he's going to be, it seems now. I mean, we've been through so many jerseys. It's like, at this point, I feel like the Browns to an extent. Obviously, it's not that bad. But yeah, like, taking a gamble with a guy that has the career he has is not scary to me, mostly for the money. And, I mean, it's clear he was the best option at the time. I wanted Justin Fields for a lot of reasons. I won't go into that now that he's, I mean, I think literally I listen to a lot of Pittsburgh media, and I think I'd say over 85% of them, probably about 90% of them wanted Justin Fields. The people that didn't seemed to think he didn't have an arm at all. I disagree with that. I'm not saying he'll have great success on the Jets. That organization is a dumpster fire, but we'll see. He's gone now, though, so I'm focused on Aaron, of course. Honestly, bro, I feel like we can go down the offense at this point if you want, just to, like we were speaking on the O-line a bit. Doesn't have to be, like, specific, but I'm gonna go into kind of like what I expect out of the O-line this year.
Okay.
Because I think everyone, I mean, I hate to keep saying, but I think the media overall wants a huge jump. I mean, not just the media. I'm guessing everyone involved in the Steelers organization, from fans to owners, need a huge jump from this group. I mean, we always say every year, oh, they just have to gel. They have the talent. And we never gel, it seems. But there is games. Like, there's 3-game stretches last year. I was like, holy hell, like, this looks good. Yeah. And the obvious things I'll point out, like, I'm very, very, me and you have both talked about being very high on Frazier and McCormick. They're two studs in my opinion, and there's no reason to worry about them second year. I think the second year jump for them is going to be crazy. And I think Fautanu is going to be a dog. He had one game, and what I did see from him, I liked. I don't like to get too hype on people too quick, but I don't see him being a guy that waivers. Like, I think his second year is going to be like a normal second year for people. Like, it's going to be like, wow, is this guy a technical rookie? Like, he's playing really good. My slight concern is Broderick. I think he's one of the most talented young players on our team. I just do think that
it's about putting it all together.
Yeah. And I think he has a confidence issue or something because, and that's just my opinion. Like, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
To stay with the O-line, I do feel like it's the biggest question mark that we have going into this season. I also think D-line might be a little bit of a concern. But I do, not a concern, question mark, I would say.
Yeah.
The D-line is a little bit of a question mark just because of the way we got gashed in the running game last year.
Yeah.
That still is something that has to be proven, even with getting guys like Derek Harmon and Yaya Black. But going back to the offensive side of the ball, I do feel like, Broderick is one of those guys who has a raw talent. Maybe him going to the other side mess him up a little bit. Yeah. But I do believe him going back to his natural side.
I was going to say the natural
will
position
give him confidence to be able to, be better out there and not be so mentally overloaded with things to where he's jumping off sides, how he was last year, holding penalties and things of that nature. I think he'll be more calm to be able to have a better poised season. I also, I'm very interested to see what Zach Frazier and McCormick bring back to the table. I mean, because how many times have we seen young guys be able to, have a great first year and then might fizzle out over the years. But I'm a true believer in guys like Zach Frazier and McCormick, and I will say that those are probably the guys you have to worry the least about.
Yeah.
I still like Samalu. I still like him.
He's a vet.
What I mean. I feel like he dropped a little bit last year. Bowler, but the year before that, I feel like he had a really good season. Last year, he had a pretty decent season. I think he's someone that comes back as a veteran for the O-line.
Yeah, we need one. So
and lead the younger guys. Overall, I think our O-line should look a lot better in 2025 than what it did in 2024. But that would be my biggest question mark on the team this year for sure.
Yeah. I guess I was going to go across O-line, but since you mentioned D-line, I'm going to go kind of on somewhat of a tangent. I do think, obviously, we saw how horrible our D-line play was last year, our defense as a whole at certain times.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you're playing a guy like Derrick Henry and whatnot, obviously you're going to have more lackluster of a defensive game at times when it comes to the run. But I think, obviously, with them knowing that they performed poorly, they did have to get Derek Harmon, and like you said, they got Yaya Black as well. I'm expecting a lot of the Derek Harmon. I try not to put too much trust in rookies.
Yeah, he looks ready.
He does look ready. I mean, they called him Cam Hayward 2.0 for a reason. I'm clearly excited to, not clearly. I'm obviously, just like the rest of Pittsburgh, I'm excited to see Cam Hayward just play anytime. I don't believe in age when it comes to that guy. Yeah. He's gonna deliver. I know he is.
I feel like last year was one of his better seasons in his career. I mean, if he's still doing that at that high of a level at his age, I mean, I won't be too concerned. Obviously, long term, but I won't be too concerned with a guy like Cam Hayward. I mean, I'm always excited to watch a guy like Cam.
Yeah.
After the quarterback.
And I'll factor outside linebackers. I mean, we do factor those as D linemen, correct? Like you would consider TJ and them. My two sleepers is a little random, but I'm not gonna say this is a sleeper segment per se. But they seem like best friends. I'm pretty sure Herbig and Keanu Benton. I would say the only reason I think Keanu Benton is a sleeper is because, like a lot of Steelers players, I think we use him wrong. Schematically, I think we underestimate his athleticism and we kind of make him more of a big guy in there. But Keanu Benton can move, in my opinion. I have listened to some people that have a lot more presence in the Steelers locker room, and coaches haven't been as high on him, but players say he is like a unicorn, he could do everything. Yeah. So I want to see them use him better. Herbig, I think, could be one of the best young edge rushers in the league.
I agree.
And I guess we could spill into, of course, what everyone's probably talking about with the TJ stuff. I mean, if you want to go on that, you can. Cause
me and Deck, we talked about this.
yeah,
I mean, with the TJ situation, it's one of those things. Like, of course, like if you have a guy like that come back to your team, your defensive ceiling is through the roof. You know what I mean? And there's nothing like. There's nobody that can say that the Steelers defense is not top 3 in the league without even watching us on TV. If you sign a guy like TJ Watt back, in my opinion.
yeah,
I was also saying how sometimes in the past he might have, hurt it. I don't want to say hurt us in the run game, but he's one of those players that he likes to make the big play, and sometimes what comes with making the big play is giving up a big play. So, I mean, I feel like TJ Watt as a whole, he's obviously one of, if not the best, edge rushers in the league. I mean, I think pure pass rusher, he's one of the best in the league.
yeah,
The best in the league.
yeah.
But I mean, he's also getting at that age where you got to think long term, and you got to think, what should we pay him this money or should we not? But you know what? Like I told Declan, I think that you want a guy like TJ Watt back on your team.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to TJ, my opinion's like obviously we've talked about it, so my opinion's pretty heavy set with Darius. I'd say I'm a huge fan of hard-nosed linebackers all across the league, but mainly Steelers. I mean, I'm a homer, so I mean Jack Lambert's my favorite player that I've never watched, of course. TJ is my favorite player, but I don't say it enough. And I think I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but I'm going to do it. I hold him to such a high pedigree that if he doesn't perform like I think he should perform in a game, I'm blazing mad at TV. Like, you guys should hear what I say about TJ. You guys would break me down. Like, I've talked to TJ on the TV. I definitely would never say it to his face.
And that's where I was getting at. That's where I was getting at, though, with what I was saying. I mean, of course, you want a guy like TJ back on your team, but if we pay him all this money, he better perform.
Yes.
Like his life depends on
Which,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, he does perform. Like, let's not get that wrong. And I know what you mean, though. Like, okay, he wants to be the highest paid edge rusher in the league. Okay, you got Myles Garrett, that the dumpster fire we call the Cleveland Browns, of course, ruined the entire edge rusher salary. He literally tweeted that they suck pretty much and he wants to leave. And then they were like, wait, we'll give you the hugest contract you've ever seen in front of your face right now. And that messed up the market, and it put Steelers in kind of a rut in a way.
Yeah.
And now we're waiting on Micah Parsons' contract. We're waiting on the guy from the Bengals, which, don't kill me for this, he is one of the best guys in the league, D-line wise. I just can't think of his name off the top of the dome. Yes, yeah, Trey, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're waiting on all that. I think it's a big waiting game. When it comes to performance, we know he performs. We haven't won a playoff game. We know our winning record, if you look at it, is actually like astonishing. When we don't have TJ, it's like we're the Browns almost.
Right, yeah.
So, and you can use a lot of factors for all that, but at the end of the day, when 90's in there, we're a solidified defense.
Yeah, you can't take away from what he brings to the table in the game. I mean, he's an absolute game worker. So there's certain things that he does that you can't replace.
Yeah.
What I'll go back on is saying, like, TJ, he's great. He's great. He makes so many big plays. But, a guy like Myles Garrett, I mean, if you take him off the Browns defense, it's a completely different defense. I honestly believe if you take TJ Watt off of our defense, it looks different. We don't make as many big plays, splash plays. But I think overall as a whole, we could afford that loss more than a guy like Myles Garrett would for the Browns, if that makes sense. I just think, like,
our depth is...
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And honestly, it's like, I remember so many great things TJ's done, with the exception of him picking up that fumble return from the Chiefs. I mean, I can't remember him doing anything of magnitude in a playoff game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's...
It could be schematically based, too, but overall, big players show up in big...
you know what I mean? And of course, but...
Yeah.
we always see our defense. It's kind of the same thing every year. Like I feel like our defense starts on a high note, but throughout the year they fizzle down. Teams start to be able to run the ball on us. We cut down on the turnovers as we was getting early in the season, and I think ultimately that just comes with playing a full season, and that comes with
You're good.
yeah. I just think that comes with playing a full season, and playing games. Your defense won't be able. They're going to get broken down throughout the season, and when your offense isn't moving the ball how they should be, you're going 3 and out. That wears on the defense as well. So I mean, there's a lot of different things that I feel like contribute to our defensive disaster sometimes. But I could be very wrong by saying we don't necessarily need TJ Watt because I could sound like a fool. But in the same breath, I'm kind of at that point where it's like, what have we won with him? You know what I mean? So if we had to make that, get Terry McLaurin
blockbuster.
You know what I mean?
Type of trade,
that type of trade. I wouldn't necessarily be mad at it because there's other needs we need on a team. But losing TJ Watt is a gap that nobody could fill. So it's like it's a weird win-win almost in my situation. In my opinion.
I'm very bipolar about the topic itself. Like when I tell you I hold him to a high regard, like this might end up being my favorite Steeler ever. Like he really is that guy, but it's without a playoff win on our team, without a Super Bowl. Like I'm gonna have to go with the guys that have one. Now, when I say might, that's if we sign him and we make a run that I think we could make, given us acquiring, like using our comp picks next year, getting a real quarterback in here, and all that. Which that'll be for the future. We're obviously gonna stay talking about the Steelers, but in terms of the right now, I think we will pay him just because they want him to be a one helmet guy. He wants to be a one helmet guy. The business side of it is obviously their view. Same as mine, which is the point I'm going to make. Just because I think they're going to sign him doesn't necessarily mean I want them to. Now, I am in the middle, just like D. Like, I realistically look at it as, okay, I'll probably be ecstatic to see him suit up. Like, of course, when I see him out there, it's like chills because that is the guy. But at the same time, one of the main reasons I'm very a big advocate for possibly trading him is because we've had a lackluster offense for years. We need a wide receiver too, in my opinion. Jonnu Smith is a good acquisition in terms of talent, but we need a bona fide wide receiver too. Our defense just overall has been wavering, but the guys that I think are in place to be future stars are going to need paid eventually. Like, I think Joey Porter Jr. is one of the best corners in the league. Now, do I think he's top 5? But I think he's going to turn into like a real deal player.
I think potential-wise, there's no selling on him. I mean, if he cleans up some of those, holding penalties, I still haven't seen him get beat.
No.
For like a bad touchdown or anything, or him getting beat by yards. Have I seen him get a little handsy throughout the receiver's route? Yeah, but what
I kind of like it.
Yeah, what aggressive cornerback isn't getting a little handsy? That's why I'm happy, not to get off topic, but on topic with the acquisition of Jalen Ramsey and having a long corner like D. Slay and another long corner like Joey Porter. I mean, I feel like that takes up a lot of space on the field, and those are 3 guys who, who also they take pride in man-to-man situations, and I think it will be interesting to see like how that plays out. And also having a guy like Beanie Bishop who's sneaky and gets a lot of turnovers, and
which a lot of people are hating on him right now too, saying, "Oh, thank God we got Jalen Ramsey because Beanie Bishop is horrible for nickel." And you guys got to realize, like, this is the NFL. Depth is still necessary. He's still going to get snaps. Last year, he had 2 picks against our starting quarterback, let alone, I forget his overall picks. I think it was pretty decent. Maybe it was just 3, though. But either way, I think he played pretty well.
He made some
I'm not
pretty
gonna get
big
too
plays
far
in
into
big
him.
moments. So I like guys who make plays in big moments. I feel like that's magnetic. That's almost, guys, like, you can't teach things like that. Like, people who just step up in big moments. I feel like Beanie Bishop kind of showed a little bit of that last year, even though it might not have been on the biggest stage, but just big times and big moments of games. I feel like he stepped up a lot, and that's someone I think is low on people's radar, who I think will have a very good season, is Beanie Bishop.
Yeah, the only thing I can say I'm unhappy with him with, I'm a Pitt fan, a recent Pitt fan to be honest. I was Penn State, and then I realized, I've been double teaming, so I'm just gonna stick with Pitt. I don't like what he did, but I think if you're gonna play football, you have to be thick-skinned to an extent, and you also have to handle your business on the field. So all these people like pulling their eyes out over what he did. I mean, he dragged his feet on some carpet. Like I get the disrespect's there, but man, handle it on the field.
I kind of keep pros with pros, and I kind of keep college in college. You know what I mean? Like,
which he should have done himself, to be honest. Though, like he shouldn't have went over there and done that. But I agree. What you mean? Yeah,
I agree. But in the same breath, I mean,
they can handle it.
Yeah, the backyard brawl is one of the best rivalries in college football. So I'm not mad at it. It keeps that rivalry tradition going.
Yeah, he's just igniting the flame.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But obviously you got to know when you do something like that, what type of reaction you're gonna get from fans.
Mostly in Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta know you're gonna get hate for that. So I think it was a ballsy move by Beanie Bishop, but it's one of those moves that that kind of shows you who he is as a person though. Like he's not a people's pleaser. He's someone that's gonna go out there and have a mind of his own in a way.
Yeah, and when it comes to all that stuff, like Aaron Rodgers' politics, Mason Rudolph's politics, anybody's politics, this is not gonna be a political podcast at all. I'll never talk about what side I'm on. My point is, I don't care what you do outside of football. I mean, yes, there's some exceptions, but overall, if you could throw that ball, if you could tackle well, if you could play defense, whatever it is that you're offering the team, that's what I'm going to be focused on. So I could give a hell less about what Beanie Bishop does and is. I mean, yeah, it was annoying, but as long as he comes out and plays well for us, that's all I care about.
We'll forgive him. Yeah. And I also, just to throw a little, not necessarily a hot take, but just to speak on someone I'm excited, like who I'm most excited to watch this year, and I want Deck to tell us who he's most excited for. Yeah. But for me, I mean, I gotta say like Deshaun Elliott.
Yeah.
I feel like a guy like him, he's like the Steelers personified, in my opinion. Like I feel like he gives me Ryan Clark, but I don't know. He gives me a Ryan Clark vibe with the way he comes up and hits, not just a number, but I feel like he plays like him. He has that old soul to him, where he's really playing for the logo, and I feel like nowadays that's hard to find. Obviously in 2025 with guys, it's a lot about business and everything. But I think Deshaun Elliott, he's poised. I don't know how he didn't make All Pro last year, but I think he definitely makes All Pro this year.
Really,
especially with the
that's big time.
Yeah, with Minka departure and everything.
Minka,
I think he fills that role perfectly. I feel like that's also why we were kind of comfortable enough to get rid of a guy like Minka, because I feel like they expect him to take that big role. Hence his big contract he just got. So. Yeah.
I mean, he's playing in the box more, but we use Minka everywhere. He went back to his original position, more free playing, freelance, and free safety as a whole because Deshaun came. When I first saw we got Deshaun, I watched his highlights, and I was intrigued, of course, the length, the hard hitting. His ball skills are even good, like as much as he's using the box. But I was just like D. I mean, that's a good. I did not expect him to say that. Not in that way or anything. I'm excited about him, but it's almost like last year made me feel like he's been on a team for 5 years. Like, if that makes sense. Like, I expect what I expect out of him. Yeah. I forget if Jerome Bettis was a free agent acquisition, but I think Deshaun Elliott, I'm just going to say one of the best free agent acquisitions we've ever had. And I don't want to speak too early because, like, it's the first year, but I really, like I said, the 5-year thing, I think he's just going to be smooth rolling. Yeah, he's going to pick up where he left off. Yeah, I love watching him play.
Yeah.
He was my favorite player on defense last year. Actually, probably on the team when it 100%. Came to, like, the stretch where we weren't doing great. I think he was still doing pretty good.
He still was playing ball. I feel like him. I mean, I'm excited to watch our whole defense as a whole. Even I don't want to spoil who he's gonna pick. I feel like I might know, but I'm gonna let him pick who
I'm sure he's gonna say Peyton Wilson is my most. Yeah, that's the guy. I mean, I'm a linebackers guy. I love middle linebackers. Ever since I was little, I watched middle linebackers. Like Shazier is my favorite player ever. Possibly, I think if his career didn't get interrupted, obviously by injury, he would be the GOAT of that position, possibly. I mean, Ray Lewis is probably forever going to be the GOAT.
I mean, Shazier,
but
Shazier
he's just changed the position.
On a different level for sure.
But Peyton Wilson, I think, has the first chance since Shazier to have that green dot and really be the green dot. Now, Patrick Queen's currently the green dot. I think very highly of him as well. I think he's athletically gifted beyond measure. I think he is a good linebacker in this league. I do think, though, that Peyton Wilson's going to take the defense over possibly this year or next year. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was this year. I'm really excited about, obviously, his hard hitting, his ability to play the run. But, I mean, we all saw that interception. They called it the immaculate interception or whatever. I mean, that was a thing of beauty, and that wasn't on accident. Like, that wasn't, oh, that happened for him, cool. Like, it was said by Tomlin and him. It was film watching. I mean, I've heard he's a film, like, he's dedicated in that room. I'm just really excited, mainly because I love linebackers, but also I just think he is going to provide something at that position that we haven't, like, had since Shazier, and that's a motor, like, to the point where he's, like, I love watching him run sideline to sideline, the entire game. That's what you need on defense. But, yeah, that's my most I anticipate his play the most out of anybody for sure.
You know what? Sure. I definitely think that's a good choice right there. I mean, the reason why I picked Deshaun is more just because of the departure for Minka. I feel like it's a chance for us to see how he fills into a bigger role. Even if they have him doing the same things, it's just he's going to be looked at as that guy. So I feel like to see him as that guy compared to last year, we had it pre-planned that it was Minka that was that guy. Yeah. So I feel like he kind of like was under the radar, and maybe that, sometimes that helps guys play a little bit more comfortable when they're not necessarily that guy. So I guess I'm kind of more intrigued to see how he is being that guy in the secondary. Even with the acquisitions like Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, and having Joey Porter come back.
Thornhill too, I guess.
Yeah, Thornhill, another guy who's not talked about enough. I feel like is a sleeper who plays good ball from the Chiefs. Even on the Browns, he was pretty decent. So I feel like we have a lot of veteran guys, and I feel like having a lot of veteran guys in that, that secondary, it takes away a lot of the mistakes, and they've seen everything. You know what I mean? So that type of stuff, it's definitely going to help the defense. Especially our defense, we're known for our D-line and getting to the quarterback and getting turnovers and things of that nature. Yeah. Now imagine having that veteran,
good corners and good defense.
Exactly. I feel like it could complement each other very well. Yeah. With Peyton Wilson, I mean, I'm definitely excited to see him. He's a dog. Like, no one could question his heart, his relentlessness on the field. Just, I've seen him track down plays from 50 yards behind and like it's nothing. I feel like a guy with that motor, a guy with that, will to be successful. Yeah. I feel like there's no doubt that he'll have a breakout season, and I like that pick.
Yeah, I agree. Deshaun Elliott, like, in the absence of Minka, I really do think, like you said, like, he's going to be that guy in the safety room for sure. I don't know how they'll use him. Like, I would like to see him get some free safety reps and see if he could run that whole, like, field, because I really do think his ball skills are underrated. I think he could keep up running-wise. Like, playing him in the box is ideal for his tackling ability, but I think he could tackle from all over the field just like Minka did. As, like, a Whippeal lover, obviously, I mean, we're both from Western Pennsylvania. I would love to see them pick up Jordan Whitehead just for depth, but that's kind of a homer thing. Like, I'll bring up him. I would love to see him, even though I know he played strong safety at the Bucs. He basically was their, like, extra linebacker, essentially. Like, he was doing a lot of just tackling. I think he's talented, though, and he could I mean, of course he's talented, but I think he could still offer a lot to the game after his injury. That'd be a good depth pickup. As of right now, with that injury, I don't know if he would come in and, like, start.
It's always good to see a homegrown kid come back and play for, their home team. And on top of that, I mean, sometimes that gives players a fuel to the fire, too, when they're playing for their home school. So I don't think you could go wrong with picking up a savvy veteran like Jordan Whitehead.
I agree.
That would definitely be a good pickup for us.
Speaking of, my bad, bro. Speaking of homers, I'll transition. Tyler Boyd is a hot topic right now, apparently. That just came to my attention. I don't know how true it is, but apparently the Steelers have stated they've talked about him. I'm going to have to check my sources on that, or talk to him directly, I mean. Tyler Boyd has stated, like, a few weeks ago, he said he would love to come to Pittsburgh. Last year I was hoping for him. Titans picked him up, right? Yeah. Yes. He played for the Titans. He did good last year. I think he had good numbers. Maybe not, like, crazy.
He had his subpar wide receiver 3 season. But.
Okay. I'm wrong then, guys. See, that's being too Homer-ish right there. Yeah, I thought he had, maybe it was because of injury. I don't
He didn't
remember.
put up the best numbers, but I think Tyler Boyd he's a good route runner. He's someone who's reliable on third downs. He's someone that could be a good outlet for a veteran quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. I don't think you could go wrong with an acquisition like that. I would say you put Tyler Boyd on our wide receiver room. You could easily put him at wide receiver 2, if not wide receiver 3.
No, for sure.
Austin. So
honestly,
like,
wide receiver 2,
yeah,
in my
you
opinion.
know what I
yeah.
mean. And I feel like that. So you can't go wrong with having a guy like Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I mean, our mutual friend Shrami, we both went to school with. I'll bring him up right quick. He said something the other day that I agree with wholeheartedly. I think Tyler Boyd's one of the best route runners in the league. Now, of course, if you just hear that statement and you have ears that can't soak in knowledge, you're like, best what in the league? No, I don't think he's one of the best receivers in the league. It's just when you slim it down to route running, which I think like Antonio Brown's probably the best route runner I've ever seen. Of course, I'm 24, so I didn't watch Jerry Rice. But I really do think Tyler Boyd could give us like route running that we have not like had in a really long time.
I think he's one of those guys. He's a threat from anywhere on the field. Like he could play the deep threat role. He could play that intermediate route role, but he could also play that short yardage role. So I feel like he's just a complete receiver to have on in your receiver room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean I'm itching for anything. Sorry, excuse my language. I'm itching for anything. Because George Pickens was my favorite offensive player. I was even high on Najee. A lot of people wouldn't be prone to be on my side with that, which I'm not going to get into Najee. All the best to him. I hope he plays well in the Chargers. I don't think he will, even though I think he's great, because I think they're going to kind of undermine him and have a lot of other running backs in the mix. And the next team he is on, I think he's going to do fine, but this is not the Najee Harris show. This is about Steeler football. So I'm going to get into the wide receiver core. I really think it was a mistake to move George, other than the business side of things. Of course, business-wise, you're paying DK a lot. You're probably going to be paying a guy a lot, either on the defensive side, the offensive side. And George was going to need a lot of money. I mean, I really do think he's going to get a big contract. But he was my favorite player. I get the antics off the field, got him out of here. Yeah. But I do think he was a generational talent, and that's just me.
Absolutely.
And you also agree, yeah. So
yeah, I mean, there's no denying George Pickens' talent. You got to be a fool to say like potential and talent wise that George Pickens can't be a top 5 receiver in this league. I think he can. I think he could have been for us, and I think he can be for Dallas.
Yeah.
And I also think like the reason why we didn't keep him was obviously much bigger than football. You know what I mean? And you can't undermine how bad a cancer is to a locker room. And I'm not saying George Pickens was a cancer to the locker room or is a cancer to the locker room, but what I will say is just certain antics. You know how the Roonies and Mike Tomlin is like they cut that type of stuff real short. You know what I mean? Once you show like antics and you don't show any signs of growing from those childish antics and being able to handle media and stuff like that, I can understand where they seen problems.
Yeah.
You know, underlying and things like that. Obviously, we're not in the locker room. We don't know things that have been said or anything like that. But I also think it was long term maybe a win-win situation. I think he could thrive in Dallas with, a consistent quarterback, if not injured, like Dak Prescott. And I also think we could thrive in the locker room, and we could thrive in other situations where we have guys who want to play for each other and want to play for the team, and not necessarily so ball dominant, but can dominate, like guys like DK Metcalf. I mean, he loves to destroy people outside of catching the ball, so I feel like that's part of his play style. And I honestly, like, people gave George Pickens slack for some of his blocking last year. I still think that was one of his better attributes of his playing style was him being able to block. And I don't want to say it's normal for players to take plays off, but I will say there's a lot of wide receivers who take plays off when they're necessarily not in the route tree of getting the ball and things of that nature. But still, it was unacceptable for our standards, and I think ultimately those reasons are why we moved on for George Pickens. But there's no denying how great of a talent he was.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I think outside of just how great I think he could have been or will be, actually, because, I mean, I'll shortly say this. I am, like, it does make me happy, including, like, myself. And it's not all Steelers fans, but I think a good bit of us, including probably D, like, when a player leaves, I still really do wish the best. Like, I'll watch those games and be happy. Like, Juju, I was happy when he was doing well. Le'Veon, I mean, he never got a chance to do well. AB was too wild, so I think AB's the best receiver ever. I love his play, but I didn't really care about him in the Bucks. But this year, I really hope Najee plays well. I hope GP plays well. I wish the best for them. When it comes to the GP stuff, I'll kind of get off topic with him. I do think, like, the main reason, though, that I am mad about him leaving, I mean, not leaving willfully, but getting traded is because we were introduced to the idea of him and DK initially. Yeah. Like, and that's really what hurt. And yes, like, you said this to me, and that's when I really actually, like, took it in. I was like, wait, you're right. They are really similar. Yeah. So that's the only thing I was looking at, like, okay, like, these are two, like, 50-50 ball guys that are going to come down with it a lot. Of course, DK is a mutant. Like, of course, he's huge. But I still think in terms of, like, how that translates to the field, they're similar. I think they're both great blockers, both great pass catchers, traffic, everything. They're very similar, but I just would have been – I'm so intrigued still, even though it's not going to happen, to see them on the same team. Yeah. Partially because of the crashing out, too, because that's just like –
yeah, it's a bummer.
It would be fun to watch. But
it's a bummer, but I look at DK. I mean, I'm not mad at it because, I mean, I feel like the things that George Pickens does good. DK also does good, but I also think DK gets more separation. I think there's certain things, like, I'm not mad at it. Like, am I going to say our receiving room got worse from last year? No. I think our receiving room got a lot better from last year. Even having a healthy Roman Wilson and hearing about the things he's been doing. I mean, I still think obviously we don't know what he's going to look like, but I do think, you know, there's a chance that he could be decent. I mean, usually when people say a Steelers wide receiver is looking pretty good, usually it follows through.
We draft at that position. I mean, we're talking about George, and I mean, a lot of teams passed up on him because of what we inevitably seem to end up getting rid of him for. But still, like, we draft so well. I mean, I don't even have to say the names. We draft well at the wide receiver position. Some people have disagreed with me, but I think Kevin Colbert and Omar Khan have both done well. I mean, Omar had GP, right? Oh, wait. I think that was Kevin Colbert. Yeah. So maybe I do like what Omar was doing free agency wise, but I'm not going to give him too much credit on wide receivers yet. Yeah. But I have heard, like, just like you have, and while we're talking about him, is I've heard that Roman looks like a whole different person, a whole different player, which that excites me. But it doesn't quite feed my fancy. Like, I really, really hope that he's that guy. I also think Calvin Austin's one of the most underrated players in the league. That doesn't say that he's a wide receiver 2 to me at all. I think he's a wide receiver 3 and a damn good one. But I need something else. Like, Jonnu Smith, I think me and Darius, I wouldn't say we disagree. We had different insights on that. Right now, I'm pretty much just going through how I feel about the receiving core, and he's part of it, of course. I think Pat Freiermuth is one of the better tight ends in the league, and I think adding Jonnu is, like, cool in terms of talent acquisition. I just am confused by the move in terms of – I understand Arthur Smith is a tight end heavy guy. I just really – I want more. I want a wide receiver too. And I feel like we just got another body. And if we didn't have – not another body at all. He's going to be spectacular. I mean, he's just a Pro Bowler. More or less, I mean, like, we got another guy that is in a room full of depth. Like, you know, I think Darnell Washington is also a really good tight end.
I do too. Yeah. And I think we have 3 very good tight ends. And I think with our playing style –
I open this. My bad, y'all. All right.
Yeah, that's a Samuel Adams.
No sponsorship.
But I will say, like, I think we got 3 very good tight ends, and I think all 3 of them bring something different to the table. I think Darnell Washington is that blocker who can, you know, catch things in the play action game. Freiermuth, he's the athletic tight end, you know, who can move a little bit better. And I think Jonnu Smith is a mix in between both. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Jonnu Smith is also a guy who can, take a small play and turn it into a big play. We kind of disagree on the acquisition a little bit, but I do think if you look at it and you look at the way the Steelers, the way we want to play football, a lot of 12-man personnel and a lot of 2 tight end sets and stuff like that. I do think I understand it because now you have a guy like that flexed out, and you also have a guy like DK Metcalf and those are strong guys who suit you in the blocking game as well as the passing game. So I feel like I see the vision. I feel like it's almost that San Fran type of model that they had with that, tight end / fullback and Kittle. And I feel like it can work out. Now, I will say, talent-wise, I think Jonnu Smith is one of the best tight ends in the league. I mean, there's not too many tight ends turning 5-yard screens into 67-yard touchdowns. So I feel like if you look at it in that magnitude, he's a high riser in my opinion in terms of tight ends. Like I wouldn't necessarily put him as a top 5 to top 10 tight end in the league, but he very well could be if that makes sense. So I'm not mad at it. I do want that guy who's just the solidified wide receiver too. But I'm not mad at a guy like Jonnu Smith. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table.
Yeah.
I just hope that we use him the right way because honestly, his best year was last year in Miami, and all those other years he played with Arthur Smith. So that right there in its own is kind of concerning to me. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, in an offense that's had a lot of dead weight, whether that be schematically or just player-wise, I'm always going to be excited to have more talent on the team. The reason I'm not, super excited, though, is just because our approach in terms of distributing the ball over the years and our game planning on offense has been atrocious. So when I see a Jonnu Smith acquisition, if I were a team under Bill Belichick, then I'd be excited. And I'm not just saying that only because the Aaron Hernandez and Gronk thing. I mean, they were wonderful. So maybe I am kind of. But I more or less mean a football mind that can really say, okay. And I'm not saying Arthur Smith isn't that guy. Mike Tomlin, me and Darius have pretty similar opinions. I'm not going to, throw the guy out of the room right now. He's still my coach. We'll get into that at some point. But Arthur Smith, I do think is a very, very underrated offensive mind in this league. I do have hope that he could utilize those tight ends well. I mean, last year he pulled what's his name from Atlanta, and I don't even know if he's still on the team. I don't think so. What is his name? Something.
Cordell.
Yeah, Cordell. Wait, no, not Patterson. The tight end. You know what I'm talking about? Parham.
Oh yeah, okay.
Maybe. Or no, we just got. I don't know. Either way, I think offensively, I have more hope than I ever have in a while because of Arthur Smith, but I still doubt that we're going to have 3 tight ends that I think could catch the ball. I mean, I saw Darnell do some stuff that I don't see guys that size do, hurdling people. I don't think we could distribute the ball around with a DK, with a Calvin, with a Roman, as well as we should. And you're not always going to feed everyone.
Exactly. I feel like that's kind of game to game.
I
feel like game to game. It might be Washington's night. It might be Smith's night. It might be Fireman's night. But I think overall, they all complement each other. I'm hoping, best case scenario, having a guy like Aaron Rodgers who will be in command of the offense regardless of who's the offensive coordinator. I'm hoping him and Arthur Smith can bounce off each other a little bit.
Yeah.
To where Arthur Smith dials back a little bit of his pride, opens the offense up. And to where Aaron Rodgers isn't so just risky with the way he throws the ball. He can learn to have, good just good decision making. And not saying he hasn't. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had seasons where he went for 48 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So I'm not here to say that he doesn't know how to not turn the ball over. But I feel like that's kind of what got away from him in New York was just, careless mistakes, careless turnovers. But, culture and coaching and all those things have something to do with decision making, in my opinion. I feel like, when you know what your run game is like, not saying they didn't have those things in New York. I just feel like Pittsburgh is a different culture for quarterbacks, or players in general. When you put that jersey on, I feel like you're held at a higher expectation than a New York Jets team, I feel like that does matter. It's something that's undermined a lot, but I feel like that does matter when it comes to players in general performing.
For sure, for sure. Um, the reason I'm so pass driven, like in my head, like I'm very focused on the pass game this year. Of course, because we've had a lack of it, but also like I'll get into why, like, if we had a different quarterback, I wouldn't be this like concerned about a wide receiver too. Um, Aaron Rodgers is gonna pass the damn ball. Like at the end of the day, regardless of who's on the team, regardless if Roman Wilson was split into six people and we just had that, Aaron Rodgers is slinging the ball. So, of course, I want him to have as much talent as possible. George Pickens and DK Metcalf and him would have been a feast, in my opinion. That would have been a great group. Obviously, I mean, you had like Shador saying who could be the GOAT or something like that. Like, oh, who could be one of the best trios? And he was like, whoever's over there with Aaron, whatever. I forget the exact question. What I will get to now, like, based on he's just our 1 year guy, like, I mean, the Steelers have made it pretty adamant that, or pretty obvious that they want to be adamant on the run game. And back to a point Darius made, like, you got huge guys like DK outside of being one of the better receivers over however many years and being like very, very productive. He's huge. He can block anybody. You got Jonnu Smith can block anybody. Pat Fryermuth can block anybody. Darnell. I mean, all these names. And I'm thinking about it like, if we want to really get into the run game, we have the bodies for it. And I'm going to go ahead and say the rookie I'm most excited for. We talked about player. I think we probably share it, honestly. Caleb Johnson. I think you also are very excited for him. Yeah, man. Caleb Johnson. Yes, Jaylen Warren is loved in Pittsburgh and by me, by the way. Like, I don't want to say this in any way other than giving him his respect. I mean, the best undrafted free agent we've had since James Harrison, I believe. Yeah. I mean, he's made an impact. Let's not act like he hasn't. Undrafted. Undrafted. Okay, yeah, undrafted. So, I mean, the guy should have been drafted at that time. My bad, bro. But yeah, you got him in that room as a veteran, and I'm excited about that. But I have never seen him in the position as a starter. Like he's had a workhorse in front of him.
He's never had that workload of that sample size that we're looking for to be able to determine. But obviously, I feel like Warren. He's one of those guys. He runs hard. My only issue with Warren is obviously his fumble issues. I mean, I feel like if he could cut down on the fumbles, it's going to be hard for a guy like Caleb Johnson to come out as a rookie and just take that from him. But I mean, a lot of people are sleeping on Gainwell as well. Yeah, I think Gainwell is like, I mean, he tore us apart last year when he played for the Eagles. Yeah. I think that's someone that is very slept on, culture-wise. Him coming from the Eagles, he's going to be able to, coming fresh off a Super Bowl, he's going to be able to help our running back room a lot. From blocking and from one thing that's very underestimated about his game is his work out of the backfield as a catcher. He does a lot of damage out of the backfield. And I feel like all three of our running backs are pretty good out the backfield, even though we haven't seen Caleb Johnson yet. In Iowa, I mean, all you got to do is turn on his highlight tape. So, I feel like Caleb Johnson, when you just looking at raw talent, there's no doubt in my mind, I feel like he can and probably will take over that RB1 spot sometime throughout the season. Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me if Jaylen Warren doesn't give it up because I feel like he is that good. And with a bigger workload, who knows what he'll look like? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like, that's what excites me about our running back room though is we have three dogs. And I feel like that's our running back room tremendously upgraded from last year.
I agree. Although I was a big fan of Najee, I do think that Kenneth Gainwell is a very slept on pickup. Like, talk about our best
he could be
free agent pickups.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean. Talk about our best free agent pickups like Deshaun last year. I think he might end up being ours this year. Like he is that guy. Was he? I don't know. We didn't trade. Nah, he was a free agent. I think. I mean, you look at Cordero Patterson last year. He had carries like that Colts game. He looked pretty decent. Yeah. So it's not like Kenneth Gainwell is going to be chilling like watching these guys run. Mostly with a rookie in the room. Like at the end of the day, he's going to be RB2 coming out the gate probably. Caleb Johnson's been impressive, and we just both said we think he could be RB1 by the end of the year. Kenneth Gainwell is going to get his carries. He's going to get his passes out of the backfield. And back on, like, I have a lot of respect for him, what he did at the Eagles. I think he's a great player in this league. I would love to see him have a big role on this team. And Steelers are the type of organization to have guys like that flourish and have big roles. But Jaylen Warren is exactly who he was. Like, I'm not saying that they're similar players all around. It's just that was my thought of him as like a guy that could have, you know, like if we made it to the Super Bowl, Jaylen Warren could be the MVP, but he's not about to be the workhorse. I am concerned about him being the workhorse. Like I feel like he is a role player that's like OP. Like he's a great player that can play a big role on the offense. I just don't think, that's my opinion, I don't think he's going to look as good being the workhorse. I think he's going to be battered down. Like people such as you and I've said it, like the fumbles are an issue. I've heard people try to like slim it down to, hey, the fumbles weren't even that plentiful and the injuries weren't that plentiful and the stats may show, okay, it's not that bad, but when it comes to timeliness, that's what matters.
Yeah. I mean,
and he got injured at bad times and he fumbled at bad times.
I agree, and I just having a shorter running back with the, I mean, not to get off topic and to speak, you know, but I just feel like having those shorter arms, sometimes like the ball just squirts out of there. Sometimes, like, I feel like Jaylen Warren's also one of them guys. Like sometimes it just comes out of his arms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And biceps or something.
I mean, he just got those little arms. I mean, when you take on contact, sometimes it slips out of there. I mean, that's his only problem to me, though. I mean, I feel like Warren, he's a dog. Like, he's never going.
He got them wet guns, dude.
He's never going down by one person. Like you could guarantee that Jaylen Warren, he's breaking off that first tackle, and that's big in the NFL. That's big in being a running back. Period.